Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Automate Project Data Migration from File Servers and SharePoint into Autodesk Construction Cloud. This session is brought to you by Graitec. My name is Clemens and I'm pleased to be your moderator today. You can find the schedule of upcoming events, webinars and training on our calendar at asti.com/calendar. So be sure to check that. We'd love to see you on next webinars. Before we get started, we'd love to learn more about how we can best support you and your business. If you could take a moment to answer the poll questions on the right side of the screen, it will help us too much to understand how we can best serve you. We'd also like to invite you to explore the FileSync free trial, customized training and services. So you can scan the QR code on the screen right now to get started with the free trial. And just as a quick reminder, feel free to drop your question in the live chat throughout the session. We'll address them during the Q&A at the end of the presentation. So we're very excited to welcome Tommy Moussis as our featured speaker today. Tommy is a software solution architect with over a decade of experience teaching, consulting, and delivering hardware and software solutions to hundreds of engineering firms and fabricate shops across North America and the UK. As a valued member of the Fabricate division of Graitec, Tommy manages Graitec Advanced Workshop Seal, both commercially and technically on a global scale. His expertise spans Graitec Data Connect, Advanced Workshop, Autodesk Software, Advanced Steel, and Building Information Modeling. He's also a nice skilled professional in AutoCAD, steel detailing, steel structure, and industrial design, bringing deep understanding in the AEC industry to project he supports. So thank you so much, Tommy, for being here today, and I earned it over to you.
Thanks, Clemence. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. Oh, is it already presenting? Hold on 1 minute. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Clemence, can you just confirm if my screen is presenting correctly? Are you seeing my PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Again, my name's Tommy. Today, we're going to be discussing how you can facilitate migrating your data from on-prem systems or SharePoint to the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So for this presentation, we're going to be taking a look at FileSync. But before diving into FileSync, I just want to speak a little bit to the Data Connect division of Graitec. So it's a fairly new division in the company. We've been developing solutions in the Data Connect division for approximately 3-4 years now. But this division is dedicated to connecting various systems together. Our main focus is creating integrations between common data environments, project management systems, ERP solutions, and on-prem systems, of course. This is what our industry looks like. So, of course, there's many different cloud solutions out there, everything from data analytics to financial management, project management, etc. Our main focus in Data Connect is solutions that are commonly used within engineering firms, architectural firms, construction companies, and, of course, in manufacturing. So we're constantly adding new integrations to our various middleware and our platforms. And and we know that this is the #1 industry challenge. Okay, when discussing document management or data management, it's the #1 industry issue. There's many different studies that have been done on this topic, and this is why we're constantly focused on adding in different integrations to these different middlewares, and Graitec is heavily invested in this integration space. So once again, the Data Connect division in Graitec is focused on common data environment integrations, project management system integrations. And when we say project management, of course, Autodesk Build, Cost, Procore, solutions of that type. And when talking about ERP connectivity, we're talking about platforms like Sage, Viewpoint, Acumatica, CMIC, QuickBooks, and so on. Now, again, today our main focus and topic is going to be discussing how we can facilitate migrating data from your on-prem systems or SharePoint to Autodesk Construction Cloud. And in order to do that, we're using Graitec file sync to facilitate the exercise. And of course, this could be applicable not only to Autodesk Construction Cloud, but we could facilitate this exercise for Procore as well. But our focus today, of course, is going to be Autodesk Construction Cloud. So what is file sync ideal for? We already suggested a couple of times from the beginning of the presentation that you can use the tool to migrate large volumes of data, or this could be in the form of AutoCAD DWG files, Revit models, but other data objects as well. Other forms of documentation can be leveraged with this tool. But it's not only meant for migrations. It can facilitate ongoing collaboration on your construction projects or any sort of BIM project. And you can also use file sync to back up your data to an on-prem system or to SharePoint, so it can accommodate both cold and warm storage. And I'll speak to the architecture of the product a little later, but one thing that's quite nice about file sync is that there's no additional storage, and you can sync unlimited data throughout the year. So there's no limit to the amount of syncs. There's no additional storage fees. But again, we'll speak to that a little bit later on. Now, before giving a quick introduction, because I do appreciate that some of you on this webinar have not seen file sync yet, we support systems, again, like Autodesk Construction Cloud, Procore, BIM 360, SharePoint, Bluebeam, Windows environments, other solutions like Ignite, and so on. So just to be clear, if there's a desktop sync app, we can probably write to that, okay, because they tend to act as map drives. But the solutions that you see on screen here, we've actually developed applications for to do specific API calls to specific endpoints. So solutions like Autodesk Construction Cloud and Procore, there may be many different modules that you want to sync to and from. For example, not just the files portion or the main repository portion, but maybe you want to synchronize photos or RFIs and object types or data objects of that type. We can manage that as well, because our applications are not just reading and writing to the files portion. We're leveraging other endpoints as well. So I'll give a quick introduction to file sync. Okay, and in this video that I'm playing here, we're going to take a look at how we can establish a connection with an environment, and I'm going to be using Autodesk Construction Cloud and SharePoint as this example. In this specific example, it's an example of backing up your data to SharePoint. So once the app is installed in your Autodesk Construction Cloud environment, you can then establish connection by leveraging your credentials, which means the levels of permissions that you have in the environment is the level of permissions that you will have for syncing data from that environment to the destination. Each connection that you establish, once you've established it, you will not have to create it again. It'll just stay static in the environment, and you can simply then connect the dots, if you will. You can set up syncs by modality. When I say modality, I'm referring to either migrations, collaboration, or backing up. You could set up your syncs, your workspace syncs by projects, or you could set them up by environments you're syncing to and from. For this specific sync, I'm going to be selecting, again, Autodesk Construction Cloud. And here I'm highlighting that you could select one specific project, or you could select multiple projects at the same time. You can apply filters to the file types. And here you can also adjust the type of copying you wish to achieve. So here I'm selecting a project in SharePoint, selecting a folder, and I have it set to incremental copy. Incremental copy will allow you to verify source and just sync over the documents that have been opened and or modified since your previous sync to keep business continuity, and is optimal for other things like performance, of course, and version controlling. So here what you're seeing on screen is file sync is working in real time. Under the activity, you can see that we're essentially downloading the documents locally to where file sync is installed and then uploading them to the next environment. Now, once the sync is complete, you can actually view the logs and then verify the sync, and you can use various filter tools to see if anything has failed or if there's any errors. Typically, that would be due to read and write permissions, but you can filter out your logs afterwards to verify what has been synced. So now that we've seen a little bit of what file sync could do, let's break down the different use cases for file sync. And again, today's webinar is more focused on migrations. And in 2026, we released a new feature called Batch Tools, which facilitates a bulk migration from your on-prem system, your server, to Autodesk Construction Cloud. So when we speak to migrations, there's really two types of migrations that you would use file sync for. If, for example, you have another PM solution like Procore, I'll use as an example, and you wanted to migrate over to Autodesk Construction Cloud, we can facilitate that sort of migration. We do have a connection with Procore. We can facilitate it going in the other direction as well. But that's one use case for file sync. If you were to acquire another project management system and wanted to migrate all that data for live active projects or closed out projects to Autodesk Construction Cloud, we can facilitate that. And if you have an on-prem system, a server, and you just acquired Autodesk Construction Cloud and you want to migrate all those projects, we've again created a new tool for 2026, which will allow you to create all the projects within the environment and then the individual syncs for each one of those projects. Just to give you a brief example of how this works, it's a two-step process. You would populate an Excel spreadsheet with all the necessary information pertaining to the project. You can even leverage your project templates in Autodesk Construction Cloud with all members and permissions associated, and then you can create all the individual projects. They would act as containers at that point, so each project would be created, the project templates would be leveraged, all the members would be assigned with the appropriate permissions, and then following that, we can create each individual sync for those individual projects to then migrate all that data and process of elimination from your server to ACC. So here I'm going to play this video just highlighting how we can leverage these batch tools to facilitate the migration. And here what we're showing is that this is a two-step process. So first you're going to start off by creating the ACC project. Now you can do this manually or you can leverage the Excel template that we provide you with. And now all the information isn't necessary to populate. Again, the minimum requirement is the project name. We recommend, of course, that you leverage your project template as well. And then once that's done, here you'll see that all that information is populated. So the, of course, naming convention of the project, the members associated, all of that would be created. Now, here we can configure the parameters for all version history as well when migrating from SharePoint to ACC. And here we can also leverage the metadata if you were to do this from SharePoint, okay? So obviously if it's on-prem, you would leverage the Excel template and then create the individual syncs. But if it's from SharePoint, we can leverage the metadata and sync all that over here. And you'll see that all of this will be stored, including metadata as well related to the files. So moving on to the next topic. So backing up your data can, of course, you can use file sync to back up your data. Now, why would you want to back up your data? Most businesses want to be able to own their data, so they feel that if all their documents and all project critical documents are stored in the cloud, if there was ever an outage that occurred with whatever cloud specific platform they're leveraging, they're at risk to be down for X amount of days without having their documentation. So having a backup or duplicate of those documents is a best practice. You know, this could be to an on-prem system or to SharePoint or another cloud environment. I keep saying SharePoint because it's quite common for SharePoint to be used in 2025 in most businesses. So in this example, what we're going to be showing you is actually backing up your data, not from Autodesk Construction Cloud. In this case, we're to be using Procore as the example. And there's a few other connections that have been added for Dalux, but I didn't mention that earlier, but that's more commonly used in Europe, more so than North America. But here we're to just give a quick example of backing up your Procore data to SharePoint. Now here what I'll do is start by creating the connection. And once the connection is done, of course, you could select the specific hub. So if you had multiple hubs within that specific environment, you can of course sync even hub to hub if that wasn't clear already. And here what I'm doing is setting a schedule, a custom schedule specifically, and defining an email for notifications. File sync is more of a set it and forget it application. You would set your cadence or your schedules for these different syncs, and it would just be operating in the background. You don't really have to go into file sync often unless you wanted to view a log file if there was anything that occurred within a specific sync. For example, read and writes permissions not being set correctly within the environment. So here I'm backing up this data to the on-prem system. Okay, I'm giving an example there. And here we can see all those projects were downloaded and all those necessary files were stored here on the server. It could be your local drive as well. Next, we'll be talking a little bit about how you can use file sync to collaborate between different systems. So there's two real types of collaboration, or two different views for collaboration. So it can be on any document handover process or change management process internally. So one example of a handover process of documentation, if you're, for example, using SharePoint, pre-project awarded, so profiles in the business like sales representatives, estimation team, those who are in finance, they tend to use SharePoint or an environment of that type like Google Drive or Ignite to make modifications or to review necessary documentation related to the project. Now, once the project is awarded, you may need to transfer some of those documents into a program like Procore and or Autodesk Construction Cloud. So that handover process can be facilitated by a solution like FileSync. As opposed to downloading the documents locally and then uploading them, you can simply just leverage FileSync to manage that transfer of documents. Another form of collaboration, and this is for a solution that gets used very commonly in our industry, Bluebeam. This is something that we've created an integration for this year, and ongoing collaboration on projects. Bluebeam never really owns a specific process. However, it's a tool that gets used quite a bit for marking up documents, viewing documents, etc. And we've developed this link as to facilitate the creation of not only Bluebeam transfer of documents between Autodesk Construction Cloud or Procore to Bluebeam for projects, but we also created the ability to add sessions and be able to exchange from, again, Procore or Autodesk Construction Cloud or SharePoint to create a Bluebeam session to facilitate that exchange. So once again, we've introduced this in the 2026 release of FileSync, and we've received a very, very positive feedback. It's quite a robust, we offer quite a few different sync options with Bluebeam. So let's just take a look at the workflow first before actually diving into the video, which demonstrates the use case. So again, the workflow today, if you're using Bluebeam for marking up documentation, you would typically have to download those documents, upload them into Bluebeam, into a project. And if you were to go create a session afterwards, you would have to then add the attendees, set the appropriate level of permissions for each attendee, and then create the session. And then those attendees would be able to then view the documentation and use the markup tools within the environment. Now, if you need to then push those documents back into Autodesk Construction Cloud, SharePoint, and or Procore, you would essentially then have to download the documents again and then upload them in the other environment. So the challenge here is it's quite time consuming if you scale it over a number of projects. And of course, there's a risk of version conflicts, human error, and just having a lack of continuity within all the environments. Again, some profiles of the business tend to use, let's say, Autodesk Construction Cloud versus SharePoint, etc. But Bluebeam can kind of be used with all profiles in the business. So again, the challenge here is version control and continuity, and again, it's quite time consuming. Now, What file sync does, which is interesting, is we can sync two projects, Bluebeam projects, but we can also create Bluebeam sessions with the middleware directly from file sync. And we can set this up to be a bidirectional sync between both environments. And of course, this works with ACC, BIM 360, Procore, SharePoint, and other environments as well. And the benefit here, the true benefit is, of course, it's going to save time. It avoids all those download and upload and the various steps I spoke to earlier with Bluebeam, but it does maintain the continuity. So consistency and versioning is a big variable to that, and it reduces errors in that regard. So here I'm going to give an example using Autodesk Construction Cloud and syncing these documents. And here I have them organized by discipline. Okay, so here I have one folder named architecture, one engineering, one MEP. And here I'm selecting the hub, so Autodesk Construction Cloud. Here I'm going to use the project called Bluebeam Demo. And then here, what I'm doing is selecting each individual folder and creating an individual session for each folder. And here what I'm doing is switching the sync to be bidirectional. So here I can also create a new folder for it to be routed back to the source or source destination. So just to move a couple steps back here, and I'm going to pause it for a second. Here when creating here you can overwrite the source files, but if you want to create a new folder for the markups, here we can create a new folder within the source environment so that then all these marked up documents would reside in a new marked up folder to not compromise the original documentation. Additionally here, you can set up the attendees per folder structure and then set the level of permissions per attendee as well. So I'm going to resume the video here. And of course, if you activate versioning, if you're overwriting existing documents and the naming convention is staying static, of course, it will retain that version history, and you'll see V1 and V2 in Autodesk Construction Cloud. So here, we're just highlighting that we've imported the documents from ACC to Bluebeam. We've marked them up, and now we'll see that in Autodesk Construction Cloud, it is now V2, and we can see the markups on the drawings. So a positive point on file sync is that it's a desktop application, and we connect these different environments via apps. So unlike other sync tools or integration solutions, it takes 15 minutes to 20 minutes to set up file sync. You would just have to install it, install the apps in certain environments like Autodesk Construction Cloud and or Procore, and then following the installation of the apps in those environments, you can just establish the connections using your user credentials. So long as you have administrative permissions in the environment, you'll be able to see all projects and all documents. It is that quick to set up. And the key features and benefits, once again, we accommodate bidirectional syncs with all apps or environments that we support. It provides you real-time file updates. It's easy to deploy per server. So one thing that wasn't mentioned is that, of course, if you have the need to back up data to multiple servers, if you're a larger business that have multiple site locations, it may be most appropriate to have a file sync per server. If that's not the case and you're mostly using cloud systems, one seat of file sync can manage most of it. The only bandwidth issue that is present is just simply the rate limits of the environments that you're syncing to and from. For example, Autodesk Construction Cloud has a rate limit of 50 calls per minute on the environment, which in this use case, the file sync use case, means that you can download or upload 50 files per minute into that environment. That equates to 3,000 files an hour, 12,000 files per 4 hours, etc. So if you, again, we're moving terabytes of data on a daily basis, maybe then you consider 2 seats of file sync, but again, it's easy to deploy per server, and it's quite secure and scalable, as we are leveraging the permissions of the individual's credentials within said cloud environments. It streamlines the workflows between common data environments, PM systems. It's secure. Of course, again, due to the architecture, it's unlimited data volumes in syncing. And we support, again, platforms like Autodesk Docs, Procore, Bluebeam, and more. So the benefits, again, and this is not only to file sync, but to other solutions in the Data Connect division, the benefits are we're connecting your systems together. We're automating the processes for handover and other use cases within the business. It enhances collaboration between the teams, and of course, it helps them focus on their true tasks. So if you're a project manager, it's preferred that you're not wasting time, of course, downloading, uploading documents, and always wasting time on these mundane tasks. If you had a system like this in place, syncing the documents for you, you can spend more time on tasks related to project management. And then, of course, business continuity, being able to assure that your teams have the correct versions of the documents at the appropriate times is always a benefit and extremely important to the outcome of the project. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Again, file sync can be used for migrating your documents from your on-prem systems to Autodesk Construction Cloud using the new batch tools. Again, this was a feature that was introduced in 2026, and if you want more information regarding that specific feature or demonstration that's more thorough, we can most certainly help you with that and even get you on a trial to test it yourself. I guess at this stage, we'll just review any questions. So Clémence, are there any questions in the chat that we'd like to review?
We don't have any question by now, but if you guys have any question, feel free to drop them in the chat. Tommy will address them. So, but yeah, we don't have one right now.
Okay.
Maybe we can leave a bit of time. Don't hesitate if you have any question.
Maybe I answered them all while talking.
Yeah, maybe you said everything. Well, I don't see any question popping out, so is there anything you'd like to maybe add to this? Oh, no, we have one question. Okay. Can you sync with Azure?
Yes, but there could be specificities to that that you require. So it is feasible. It is possible. In short, yes.
Okay, amazing. Well, I don't see other question coming into the chat. So do you have like a last word maybe, Tommy, for this session? Something you'd like to add?
Sure. Once again, we offer trials for file sync. We offer 30-day trials, and they are supported trials as well. So if you were to install file sync and then request some assistance in setting up your connections and testing various modalities, we'll be happy to support you in that trial. Once again, free of charge. The only limit to the trial is the limit on gigabytes. Nevertheless, we do offer 30-day trials.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, I don't see any other question coming, so I think we can wrap this webinar. So thank you so much, Tommy, for sharing your insights with us today. And thank you to all attendees for joining. We truly appreciate your time and hope this webinar was really very valuable for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And on behalf of Graitec, thank you for spending part of your day with us. And we look forward to see you on a future Graitec webinar. Have a wonderful day.
Take care, everyone. Bye.